So here is the big missing on our farm. This is our biggest small trailer, and that's our smallest small trailer, and we don't have anything in between. Now this thing is ridiculously big to tow around. It doesn't come around corners when you come out of the row. And this one is super wobbly, so it means everything you put on here and you drive over 5 kilometers per hour falls off. So let's do something about that and build a new trailer. So I looked on eBay and I found these 2 axles and 4 tires, and with these we are gonna build a new trailer which is gonna have 4 tires, and I want to make this a really smooth ride, but also the trailer has to be multifunctional, so it needs to be always a flat trailer, but we need to be able to collect poles and all that kind of stuff with it as well, easily, without bending stuff and so on. And I want to make it 1 meter 20 wide and 2 meters 40 long, and I think that's a really nice measurement for a trailer. So let's go and craft something. And as you can see, I already tried out the wheels on the axle, and what a surprise, that doesn't work. The issue is the bottom side of the axle here is too high, and I actually have to cut it a bit. That way the wheel will fit on. So we're gonna have to make 4 of these cuts and weld in a new plate on the corner to get these wheels to fit properly. But I do think they are really nice because we got this hang here and we can put that on the lower side or on the upper side. That way we should get a really nice chassis. That's just perfect. So we now got an axle which actually fits to our wheels. Now the next problem that we have is the width. So the complete width is now 1 meter 32, and I want to go to 1 meter width. And reason for that is that our apple trees are standing at 3 meters, and late in the season they often grow while still having a pad in the middle of about 1 meter 20. And if we use this trailer, we want to be able to walk around it. So that's the whole reason we want to go to 1 meter with this trailer, and that should make it a proper trailer for our use. So let's make that. Well, these 2 just look awesome when they are this narrow. I'm really gonna wonder how that's gonna look like if it's under a trailer, but I really love it so far. We are at a perfect width now. Both axles are about the same length, the difference only a few millimeters, and that's not a problem. But I was really worried about because I couldn't get one axle wide enough in a saw, so I had to fix it a little bit by tweaking with the other one. That seems to have worked out. Now these axles do have these pieces of iron sitting here, and I really cannot use these here as I need to make the frame there for the trailer. So we're gonna have to cut that out, and that's gonna be an awful lot of cutting, but it has to happen. I need it gone, so let's cut it out. So I got the axles prepped, so I cut off the iron which was on top because I want to get rid of it to make it a lot nicer. And I ordered these special bushings. They are gonna work for the pendulum, so we're gonna push these in the pendulum, but to do so I also need to make the pendulum. So let's first take a look at making that one. Well, I got some metal cut, so we can now weld it in. And I still need to make the bushings, and then we should get the chassis ready of the trailer. So let's get this plate on and then see how we are gonna make the bushings. Well, trailer is coming together. Well, that should really give an idea of what it's gonna look like. I got the main beam on. The length is not yet what it's gonna be, but I want to make a test drive with this thing just to see how it behaves in the orchard. And if that camera doesn't fall off at full speed, then I know it's working really good. So I really want to do a test drive to see how that tandem axle is doing, and I also want to see how it's turning, if it would be this long or if I have to shorten it a bit or something like that. It's the first time that I drive with a pendulum, so that's really the reason I want to try it out, because in theory it works, but I want to see if I got nothing weird going on there, and I also want to see what it does if I push it up a mountain or something like that, because I do think this one has quite some range. Alright, so I got the middle part welded up, so this is now pretty strong to keep something up. To build the platform of the trailer I need a flat ground, and unfortunately the workshop doesn't have a perfect flat ground. So I took some metal plates in the workshop which are 12mm thick, but still they are completely bent over the floor, so the floor is not that straight. But yeah, I'm gonna have to clamp it up. I tried a lot of spots to put it down, but it keeps having curves in there, so it's just what it is. So I will need to clamp down the metal on there to straighten everything out, and then I can measure it out completely in the way that I want to have it, and then make it in that way. So let's do that right now. Alright, that's looking really nice. So now I want to see how this looks like on top of the trailer, and also determine the position where the frame is gonna sit on top of the trailer, as I don't want to have the weight all in the middle. I want it a little bit to the front, and we just need to determine the correct spot for that. You might wonder why I got this metal here and not just a sturdy beam. That's because I don't have that type of beam here at this moment, so I have it on order, but it's not here today. So this should keep it solid and straight while I find the correct spot on the trailer, and then I can also make a middle beam because that's the metal that I do have. And yeah, that way at least I can continue working today. Alright, after a little bit of tinkering, I think this is gonna be the setup. So I'm gonna make a test weld. So make a tube in the middle, get 1 column down there and 1 column on the front. So it will be on there, but not strong. But I want to make a small test drive to see how it steers, and so to figure out if I like it or not. This is really cool. So it's perfect size. The height is nice. It could have been a little bit lower, but I need to have that pendulum there. So that's why it's this high up, and I want these big tires. So this is what it is. It's still about, I can just touch it and I stand straight up. So that seems to be absolutely perfect. Test drive went really nice, but I put it outside and I walked away and came back, and then I noticed it was having an angle between the platform and the main beam. And I forgot one thing. I measured everything correctly. I just forget that this one is 90 millimeters and all the others are 80 millimeters. So I did all the calculations, but with that one on 80. So the front is 1 centimeter lower. I'm gonna correct that. This is not the final welding, this is just temporary, but I need to start somewhere. So first temporary welding, and then I can make the final construction to make it look good. But now I need to level everything out so it's correctly leveled. Then we need to test it a bit, and when everything looks good, then I'm gonna weld it for final and make some new metal for that, so that we have optimum space in this cart, because I want to use all the space we can get in this thing. Well, I made this temporary hook, but now we're gonna make this one, as that's the one that's final. It's because this one can rotate, and it also has a label which is maximum allowed towing weight. So it means it's an official one, and that will be way better. I mean, even if I want this trailer on a license plate, then I can get it on a license plate. I don't want it at this moment, but it's possible for the future, because I have basically done everything to get it able to be approved for road traffic above 25 km per hour. Now our tractor is only around 30 km per hour, so it wouldn't make sense to do that. Now, this cannot be just welded in. I need to make it a solid construction, because it needs to pull the complete weight of the trailer, so it needs to be strong. To do so, I'm gonna make 2 plates with a 60mm round hole, which I cut in half, which I can then weld in here, and that way I should be able to get a perfect fit around this tube. And welded up solidly around it on the back and on the front side, and that should lock this pipe in place really good, because I want this solid. It should not break off when we drive off the road. Alright, so I finished up welding this one and it looks awesome now. So this worked out like it should be. I bought this nice food for the trailer, so it means this one will have to go on, but it needs to be out of the way. That means I need to let it go through the chassis beam, and that way it will not be in the way, as the chassis beam stays very small that way, and I want the small chassis beam to make it able to make even tighter turns, because this trailer has to make really tight turns in the orchard. I welded the support foot on and it looks really good this way. It's really narrow this way, and that means that we can still take tight turns, and that's what it's all about with this trailer. I also had to shorten the lever a bit because I needed to have it lower, otherwise it would hit the golf cart, but on the same time this was too long and would hit this one. So I've shortened it and now it looks really good. I want the foot this much forward because I want to be able to load flat stuff on as much back as possible. And if I have the foot there, because it's a little bit higher than a flat platform, then it will be in the way. And now it's not. If you watched my older videos, then you have noticed that we have a trailer to carry poles around with. And that trailer makes use of these iron tubes. Well, I like to reuse the iron tubes, as they are perfect size and none of them are bent, so they are absolutely perfect. I just need to make them fit on this trailer. So I need tubes that these can sink in, and that way they can sit solid on the trailer. And I got some tubes, now we're just gonna have to make them on air. So I made 10 of these tubes and we're gonna install these on the trailer. So there are 10 spots in total where a pole could fit. And we have only 8 poles, so there's always 2 free spots, but that should be fine, I think. So I got the bottom complete, so it means that the galvanized platforms can go in. But I need to do one more thing, and that is I bought some really nice fenders for this trailer, because we always have everything under the mud when we drive around with a trailer, because mostly it's muddy when we're doing work with a small trailer, or it's really nice and sunny out and that is picking plums, but then it gets grass in his bins. So let's install these fenders. Ja, I put the trailer upside down because I need to work on the bottom side. And that is because I don't have a support which is supporting this way. Because now if I load something uneven on the trailer, it could actually happen that it bends in the side way, and we don't want that. So I'm gonna have to make 4 tubes to go from here to that point, and that way we get a solid construction, and it should never bend in that way either. So let's get some tube out and saw it onto size and corners, and saw it in the right angles, and then get it welded on. We now have a hitch here and also the beams to make the construction strong are there. So we are done with the upside down work, so we can tilt it back over and then continue welding on the upside again. And then we are approaching the finish moment of the welding. Alright, so I made a little measurement failure with the backplate here, but it doesn't matter that much. I really like it, as now it kind of looks like an owl which is looking a bit angry. So we actually got an owl's face here, and it also has eyebrows, so that's also looking really cool. Of course that had to be straight and then you don't have the eyebrow, but I think this is looking funny if I paint it correctly. And that will definitely make this trailer unique. That's the fun thing about making things yourself. Sometimes you mess up, but it comes out as a unique feature. I got the trailer completely welded up. Now it's time to paint, but for that we first need to sand it properly. Then I want to sandblast it, because I want a proper sandblasted layer there, so the paint attaches very well, and then we can paint it. So let's get it outside so we can sand it and sandblast it. Alright, so this morning I did all the sandblasting, and now I already put the primer on. So we're now ready for the real paint. So I'm gonna flip this over once more, because I want to do the bottom side with real paint first. That way I don't need to tip it over anymore once I have it completely assembled. As it would be a shame if I have fully painted it and I will still have to turn it around because it's heavy, so it's going a bit awkward and it's basically just dumping it over with the forklift. And I don't want to do that if I have painted it in high gloss. But in this stage I can, and even if I painted the bottom side I can still flip it over to the top side and then I damage the bottom a bit, but you don't see the bottom. I just don't want to damage the top. Alright, I painted everything from one side and I really love the color again. This is International Red and I prefer to make a lot of our stuff red. I just like how the color looks like once it's painted. This is high gloss, so it really shines, but I absolutely love that. So when we have this thing running again, I think it will be a really sweet trailer. So let's do the other side tomorrow and then we should be done with painting and we can assemble everything again. That would be awesome. Alright, so I'm done painting and it worked out really nice. I got some drips here and there, but at least a layer of paint is on here, as this trailer is gonna have to do a lot of robust work in the future. Now it's time to assemble everything. So we're gonna start with the fenders, then the wheels go on, and then the lights have to go on. So I want to give this one lights, and that's why I built a lot of protective places where to put lights. So I've got some nice platforms to put in here, and we're gonna put them in, and then we're basically done. So let's get that all done. Time for the wheels! Well, I got 4 platforms in. I have to make a 5th one, but it's late in the evening and I don't want to cut a whole platform up this late in the evening. So we also got neighbors and we need to take care of them also. So we're not gonna cut today. So platform that goes in here will have to be cut tomorrow. Now, this is how we will use it when we have to load poles again, and it looks superb for that, and I think it's more than strong enough for it, and I just hope it's gonna help us a lot here, as we have a lot of work where we have only bad trailers. Now this one should be a good one for the future, so let's hope it stays good and we have a lot of fun with it. I guess this is how it's done with super small trailers. It just fits inside the pit, so it's a bit questionable, but we got all dual axle, so it shouldn't be able to fall over completely. Now let's see if we can install the lighting properly in here, as I do still need to wire up the lighting, as I did not do that yet. And we are in the pit because it makes me walk a lot easier from down here. So I want to install a divider box somewhere here, because I do need a divider for my wires, and I think this is a nice spot, or at least somewhere on the back here. But it's quite full, but maybe I'm able to mount it like that. I mean, that also works, and it's protected up there. So I actually think that's gonna be how it's gonna be. Alright, so I finished up the trailer. Means I got the complete backside finished. We now got a nice hitch. We got lighting, which is functional. We got a plug to plug in a separate trailer with lighting. License plate is on. And this space is still open, so we can put long stuff through the middle. And I think that's gonna work out really nice, because we often drag long stuff with us, like poles and stuff like that. Now, below the trailer, I made the power distribution right here. I had to drill a big hole there because I wanted to get a cable from the front to the back, completely through the tube. And I can drill a small hole for the cable. The issue is I cannot grab it, so I needed a 50mm hole to be able to get my fingers in and grab the cable to pull it out. That way we got all the power distribution coming from this box, so the front plug, but also the lighting comes through the tube, and I really like that. There's also almost no wires back here, just these two going for the lighting, and the other one is going for the plug up here. So there's just a small bit of wire, and I really like that, because wire always tends to get damaged. Now let's get it outside and see how it does. I hope you enjoyed watching this project, as this one took me a lot of time, but I quite like the design and I really liked the result. As this trailer, it's a robust trailer which you can use for many years, and it's also a comfortable driving one, and that's one of the most important features. And hopefully this one is not gonna break like the other one, as the previous one was breaking down a lot just because it was that old and weak. Don't forget to subscribe so you get a notification when I make another project just like this, because I do this more often. It's every time a different project, so this is something that I built completely myself and I really liked it. But I also do a lot of other modifications on a farm to get the efficiency up on a farm, and that seems really necessary, and it's also proven really helpful in the past. Thank you for watching.